Hello, everyone.
Can you hear us?
Keep doing things. Can we get some activity in the Zoom for those who are dialing in virtually?
Bertha's giving a thumbs up.
I see some thumbs up. So are we awake? Are we excited to get Geo with it? Amazing. Well, thanks for being with us. I know it's been a long day, but I hope that this will, power us up to see the different ways that we can bring maps into our classroom, no matter your subject. A little bit more about me. My name is Nick, ACM pronouns. I run a tech justice nonprofit called Trouble and Co. And I'm here with my colleague Cordell.
I'm Cordell. I'm the software engineering and product intern at Trouble and Co. as well.
Amazing. And I know there's a mixture of folks here, but I think mostly teachers here. Maybe some ESIP folks may join in a moment, but really excited to blending this world and figure out what can we, as educators, understand and share to folks who are working with Earth data in and out about, some of us don't know what these records means. Maybe, don't rely on us to have a crosswalk. This is a really powerful tool, but my fifth graders don't know how to use it. And vice versa. How can we understand what we can learn from those who are working within Earth data to bring into our classrooms? We've been doing great in terms of engagement, but we always share our community principles in terms of like caring with each other. We're going to be doing a lot of engagement just to really understand and think through actual curriculum planning and what's possible within our classrooms. So we're going to talk about geospatial data literacy. If you don't know what that means, we're going to dive into that definition today. Then we're going to dive into and navigate one of the apps that we've been building. Trouble & Co. is an ESIP lab grantee. And so over the past 6 months, we've been prototyping a tool to extend data literacy to all classrooms. And you'll walk away with hopefully multiple lesson plans that you could ideally implement this fall with your students. And so I want to do a quick icebreaker. And so pull out your phones or go to slido.com on your computers. And the code is just trouble, TRUBEL. But it's a question that we always ask to our students. What should liberation feel like, smell like, taste like, sound like, insert whatever it is. There are no wrong answers. I know sometimes depending on where we do this activity, people say, "Oh, can we say liberation?" But it's a country founded on freedom, and we think that that expression of free creativity and expression should be always welcomed within a school. And so, really excited to think through. I see 2 participants typing. All right, getting on there. Oh, 1 participant typing. Someone's Wi-Fi may be cut out. Okay, I see. Feel. I don't know this word.
It's the smell after the rain.
Yeah. I start something new every day. That's beautiful. How do you say petrichor?
Petrichor.
Petrichor. Okay. For those in the chat, hopefully you heard that, the smell after the rain. If you're dialing in online as well, and let me put my video on for Zoom so you can kind of see me here too.
I kind of changed your sentence stuff. I apologize for that.
Oh no, that's all good.
Just a bit. I went with
Liberation should smell like petrichor. It should there's energy. It smells like your favorite perfume, feels like innovation. And maybe we can get like one more idea out there of what liberation, like what are these feelings and senses tied to liberation? Acceptance. Love that. And so continue putting it out there. Always love to see how diverse our feelings of liberation are. Oftentimes, these are feelings that are really guttural. Sometimes they're things that bring us back to childhood, different moments where we felt our freest. And I always love to think about this because these are feelings we want to bring into the classroom. We want our students to feel free and accepted in themselves. And so a lot of our curriculum is around having it being student driven and having them dictate, well, I know we're in chemistry class, but how is this about me and my community and my goals? And hopefully the tools that we're sharing are going to be a tool to bridge that gap. Another question. Sorry, there's 3 of them. One is, what was your favorite class in high school? Doesn't have to be the class you were best at, but just what did you like the most? For me, I was the kid who equally liked theater and physics. I remember for a long time, I was like, what am I going to do with all of these theater classes that I'm taking? And now I give workshops every week. And so I use those skills in that theater voice all the time. I see we have a good mix. We see biology, physics, earth science, not surprising. English, calculus, yes, math, graphic arts. We're going to get creative with some of our map design. Physics and English, we love the duality. You know, you can use both sides of your brain. Chemistry and history, art, PE. Love this. And the last one, hopefully an easy one. Where do you call home? This answer can range. This could be where did you fly in from? Where's your home base? What's your mailing address? Where did you grow up? Where's your family from? Home doesn't have to be a physical space. It could be whenever I am with my best friend. It could be, whenever I join that group chat. It could be digital. It could be whenever, if you're into gaming, whenever you log in and hang out with your buddies. And so we see a good range here. Buffalo, East Coast, Richmond, Houston, wherever my family is. Don't try to say the joke. Pflugerville.
He is silent.
The P is silent. Thank you so much for helping me out with that. Pflugerville. Love that. Pottstown, Pennsylvania. So what we're gonna do, for those who are around, turn to your neighbor. We just shared some of these feelings of freedom as well as our home. So we're just gonna, just a few minutes on what was I was supposed to do? What do most people not know about that place? And what do most folks get wrong about it? I'm not from Austin, but I am from Texas. And I'm a proud Texan. And, Texas often doesn't, and whenever Texas pops up in the news, it's not always the news that I would want to see in the state. There's also so much richness and cultural diversity in Texas that makes me proud. And so, yeah, find a neighbor, share your home, your name, and something that people don't know and something that people, maybe get wrong. If you're in the chat, for those on Zoom, share in the chat your thoughts. Would love to hear from you, and we'll give you a chance to voice that out later. What they learned from their partner, something about that, their home. Yeah, heard a lot of chatting. Maybe not if it was fun.
You were saying, oh man, do we have to do this again?
My neighbor said she interviewed the ancestor who's originally settled the actual Texas.
Oh my gosh. So rad.
Now, in 7th grade, I was in junior historians.
Yeah.
And we did with one of the original Flugers. So,
That's so rad.
I mean, we have a lot of Flugers like us.
The OG Fluger.
G.
Late 90s. So I think it was like his parents or his grandparents.
Okay.
It was not like distance.
Yeah. That's
Couple
incredible. Thank you. Can we get one more fun fact from the room? Something someone learned about someone else's home?
Buffalo is quite nice.
Yeah. Is that the thing that most people don't get right about their home?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I've yet to go, but this might just be enough to make me
Next
make
year.
Oh yeah.
Football.
I love that. I see in the chat there's some fun energy here with Bertha Shared Delaware has its own Independence Day. The more you know. They gotta celebrate early on June. Oh, they call it Separation Day on June 15th. And so in case you need another excuse to celebrate early during the summer, that's a great opportunity. And so thank you all. We share this because again, not only is a sense of liberation very guttural and tied to us, our sense of place is also really relevant for students. Oftentimes, if you want them to care, you have to connect it to their interests, to their community, things that they're already a part of. You can do a lesson about the other side of the world, and it can be cool and interesting. And they may still wonder, but I live in Detroit. I've never left, the state of Texas. I've been on the West Coast all my life. How does it affect and how does it drive my life from what I know? And so we are representing Trouble and Co. As I mentioned, we're a tech justice nonprofit. Our goal is to mobilize youth and community to leverage maps and data to tackle the issues they care about the most. We are a mixture of GIS enthusiasts, analysts, storytellers, and educators trying to bring maps to the world. But ultimately, what grounds us is this belief that we want to promote data-powered communities and community-powered data. Data is really powerful. There's a quote that we've heard that our society is data rich, but insight poor. We're here at ESIP where we see all of these incredible tools that I'm sure 97% of the population has never heard of or will ever use. We're trying to elevate that gap, right? We're trying to figure out how do we get more folks to use this to drive the work that they care about, and also flip it to where we're also promoting community power data. That data should always be in service of us and our needs and come from us and used to protect communities. And so that really guides the nature of our work. And so we're going to dive into some map discovery. And so we want you all exploring and diving into the maps yourselves. And so we'll have this is where I pass you.
Yeah. So of course, our data repository is where we get a lot of our data from. And so if you guys can scan the QR code or follow the link online, and I can guide you guys through our data hub. I'll give you guys a few seconds to do that.
Is the link in the chat?
It's about to be.
Thank you.
No www. Realize that earlier that breaks the link. Yeah, just data.trouble.co. It is not .com, and trouble is spelled weirdly.
Okay, so once you all have loaded that, on the top of the screen, you should see something called additional resources. And click that to see all the data that we have. It should look something like this up here.
Just to show here what you're going to do. So up here, you'll see additional resources. And you'll see this beautiful Airtable. And you can click down here to enlarge it if you'd like.
So just take time to scroll through it, find a random data set or a map that you might find interesting. And take a minute to, share with someone next to you or across from you what you see, what you think, what you wonder, and any connections to the map that you all discovered. And so, yeah, I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that.
Don't spend too long scrolling. Just do a quick scroll and pick a random one. We just want to get a moment to explore a new data set. Hopefully it's new, or if it's familiar, we can dive into that. And then what you'll do for those who are in the room, explore the data set, explore the tool, and find a neighbor, maybe a new neighbor. And what we're going to do is just look at what do you notice about the indicators? Does it make sense? Can you understand the legend? And do you see any potential application in terms of what you could do in your classroom? Are there any? I guess one thing we didn't say is like where to click once you open it up, and so you'll see. Sorry.
Okay, I think some people are not there.
There is a column here, access link, that'll let you open up the actual map layer. And Cordell is helping problem solve online. Has anyone been able to open it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Anyone need help? Online or other? If you're online, please post the chat. Cordell is there to help you. In the room, do my teacher walk. See if I see the right screens. I see maps. I see tools. Y'all know the teacher walk.
Not. You can help. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and turn to your partner. See what data set that they found and start to explore your two data sets together. And just what do you understand of the map that you're exploring? And what do you think? What do you wonder?
That's fun. I'm looking at iTree.
That's what
That's fine.
If you're joining online, post what data set you're exploring. Let us know which one that you're diving into and drop the link that others can explore too.
Yeah.
National Forest for
I
State.
picked the climate vulnerability index for Florida. So I think my home county, which is orange.
How's it on for you?
It's okay to be,
Oh,
That's what I was confused about. No,
vocabulary.
Or-
yeah.
Mhm. That's fair. So this part, that's really good flag.
Maybe.
This is actually generated with one of our AI tools, and the reason why that's there is that then feeds into my code.
But
That feeds
yeah.
into this tool one pager, and so that creates
I'd like to dive into.
Explorer. That one has more of those like step-by-step instructions to view to your point on like having easier to read. A good flag, I get that.
Yeah.
That all is still visible to
Everything.
the public.
Yeah, like you picked a more intuitive one.
What are your data sources? But it's all one that was reading on the.
Our data source tiers is it already
Yeah.
visible in a map and a dashboard?
Yeah.
Is it just raw data? Does it exist in ArcGIS? That's what we're using to just add it to Civicscape, so it's already kind of visible there. And then I think one of the tiers is if it has API access. And so maybe just to bring it around, what are we noticing? What is standing out? Or maybe you can just do a quick round robin or round the room of what map we opened up, just the name. Can I start with you, Carla?
I'm cheating because I heard these people do iTree and something that is potentially in that proposal, so,
Oh,
but I'm
nice.
lost now.
No,
So-
maps you can get lost in maps super easily.
Yeah.
I just found
What
floodplain.
about you, Don? We're just gonna go in a circle to share.
I am also on iTree.
Like coffee.
IT is popular.
Yeah, and I was flipping around between hardiness zones and riparian zones, and looking at upstate New York, where I'm from and work.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
Can we continue the loop?
Hi, Tree.
Yay, IT popular.
Floodplains.
Floodplains.
I'm about to find out who's gonna have raised insurance rate.
Doesn't matter.
Not much.
Yeah, hi, I'm Andre, and I think grocery access in the United States, so it's a minute walk away.
I'm going to do that.
That's an interesting one.
What about-
Well, that was our map.
Yeah.
I picked the tool, the energy burden
Okay.
income.
I did CDC Heat and Health Tracker, and I also did the grocery.
So cool.
Yeah. I'm still lost. Go log in.
What about over here? What maps did we start to explore? Think you name it?
Me?
Points? Yeah.
Potential Godzilla landing spots.
That's in our tool.
Where's that?
No, I did.
I was like, oh my gosh, we're adding lots of maps.
Did you just make that up?
It's like, we got some fun
That
maps
was
in
really
there.
good.
I was looking at where will tree planting improve urban heat health?
Ooh.
And
That's
I picked B County.
Okay.
Wait, what's the name of the?
Godzilla landing? No,
Drop it.
where will?
Those are the spots that'll attract us. Don't you know? Also,
Still lives in the ocean. Everyone knows that.
He visited New York. Where will tree planting improve urban heat health?
Okay, thank you.
I did national wetlands inventory.
ooh,
I'm currently on the EPA Freshwater Explorer.
okay. We're gonna do a fun little exercise. Look across the table, wave, say hi.
Hi.
Now imagine if we put your two maps on the same application and we were trying to answer a question. What's possible when you add those maps together? It may not always work, but it might. And so yeah, I'll give you all a few minutes just to share your maps and to maybe brainstorm a little bit about what that looks like for those online, hopefully you're able to post and share what different maps that you already explored. Find someone else's that also shared online and start to ideate what happens when you put these two, disparate maps together in the same application. I'll chat for a few.
What did you say you selected?
Um,
I really like the combination of like the three of ours. Like eye tree, wetlands, eye tree, where plant trees and wetlands.
Yeah.
Because like, I guess trees are part of the riparian buffer. Like,
Well, wetland is any place that really,
gets wet.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I live in a suburb of Buffalo, very close, an inner ring suburb in Buffalo. I can't really walk to anything. And as I get older, I turned 63 last month.
Right, and so.
I am thinking about moving into the city of Buffalo so that I can walk to things. And particularly, I want to be able to walk to a pharmacy, a grocery store, and a couple of decent restaurants. So, I'm now looking at the grocery store thing, but I also want to have trees. And Buffalo is designated by somebody as a Tree City, USA.
Oh, that's good.
So there are lots of trees in much of the city. Which were also
If this data.
still
You know,
recovering
it's in
from
the
the
same
2006
time.
October surprise storm, where we got
Ought to be able to see.
13 inches of heavy wet snow on October 13th. While the leaves,
Trees had their leaves.
yes, so thousands and thousands of trees.
Shovel.
Yeah. Yes, well, my strategy for dealing with that now, which actually also relates to climate change, is mostly when we get a lot of snow, I just stay home. 'Cause I'm a telecommuter. And when I was a kid, a heavy snow might stay around for weeks and weeks, but now it usually melts within a few days. So most of the time, most of the time nowadays I can just go in. I'm not going anywhere for a couple of days, and that's all right.
Yeah, Texas, one snow, we had like 8 inches of snow. And by noon the next
All
day.
right. Now, I know that there's discussion. That means y'all having a good time sharing maps. Can I hear from one or two groups about any fun combos or the struggle to find a relevant combination of a question that could be explored with two different maps?
I think our group was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It was energy burden versus grocery access.
Ah.
We were having a robust debate about because grocery access, the more rural areas don't have a grocery store within a 10-minute walking distance. So would energy be more expensive there? Yes or no? And that was kind of the question we ended on.
I love that. That also helps kind of create a conversation with their students around a lot of these situations and scenarios can stack, right? Mm-hmm. Someone who may experience disproportionate energy access may also experience disproportionate, food access. And so how do you think through the burdens that different households play? And maybe, you keep looking for more maps. Maybe you then go through digital equity. How many people here have internet access? How many people here have to drive more than 30 minutes to get to work, et cetera? And so just thinking about the different ways, what happens when you stack maps, you may see it as kind of random, but then you can get to really unique scenarios that actually reflect some people's lived experience. Can we get one more example?
Yeah, well, I turned 63 last month, and I live currently in an inner ring suburb of Buffalo, and I generally like my neighborhood, but I can't really walk to anything. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking about, as I age, being able to walk to a pharmacy and a grocery store and a couple of decent restaurants. So I'm thinking about moving into the city of Buffalo. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I want to be able to walk. I want to be able to afford the place. So now I'm looking at, and I like trees. So looking at all these maps together is I think might actually affect my life.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Don. That's a great contrast to the example we just saw, and that You can use maps to figure out how do you hack your life to make it more ideal. What are the areas that you're looking for? How do you use it to target interventions to figure out where to move? Maybe you're exploring moving to a new state and your kid had asthma. And so maybe you're exploring air quality to figure out what zip codes will be most relevant. Maybe you have different health needs and you want to make sure that you have access to the care that you need for your life. And so this is a helpful just start to look at some map making just to begin to explore how we can use data to drive different types of decisions in our life. I want to go deeper into data. I'm sharing a prompt and a little mini activity that we actually do with our students because we do a lot of data and critical media literacy at Trouble and Co. And so often we may ask them what mobile apps have they used in the past week. I won't go through this now, so I want to get y'all into the curriculum building time. But during this, students will reflect. So I've used Spotify, I used TikTok. I ordered an Uber to get to school. I looked up the bus route, etc. And then we ask like, which ones are tied to place? And sometimes they may struggle. Well, sure, Google Maps and Uber is, but are these others tied to place? And so we then begin to reflect that honestly, all of these apps are more likely aggregating some of this location data to either inform their delivery or inform their ads. Something like Spotify is tied to place. It will tell you what concerts are in your neighborhood. They also then use that data if you're listening to figure out, oh, who's listening to hip hop? Which states have, the most hip hop listens, or which country is this new artist most popular in? So they use all this information, and we share this to say that data can come from so many different types of places, even places that they may not even explore. If we just think through, again, in this digital environment, data comes from a lot of different sources, from actions like ordering an Uber, typing things out. Even if you don't submit, places like Google will track that and just know that, hey, you may not have searched the weather, but you were exploring it. Being proximate. And so we've been in this room for a lot of hours. And so if I look up something, Carla might get an ad saying, y'all have been in the same place for a long time. And so there's a higher likelihood that if you like something, she's going to like something. Where you hover, where you listen, and where you are, all of these go into different types of data sets. And so we then take this to reflect on what data might we capture just about the room that we're in today. And so maybe just like opening up to you all, what is some of the data that we could capture if we just look around, data that we could capture about this room?
Temperature, because I said, do not make it hotter in here, and
Yes.
many people are uncomfortable inside.
Absolutely.
So
So we could track the difference in temperature between this very air-conditioned room and the very hot Austin, Texas. What other data could we capture about this room?
Well, the basic demographics.
How many people are here? How many seats are here? What's the demographics of the people? Gender, race, class, etc. What else?
And I'm the oldest one.
Volume.
No, you're not.
No,
Lights being able.
I wouldn't have guessed it.
I'm 70.
Sorry, the amount of light.
That's one.
Yes, you can definitely measure the light. You heard volume. Can you get one more data set that could be generated?
Air quality.
Air quality. What was the other one?
I said cover.
Cover.
Like, this is something. That's carpet.
Yeah. And so there's a mixture of data, right? Some are things that we can count, some are things that we can describe. And we share this with students again to figure out that data isn't always just like the thing in a really crazy Excel table. Data could be things that you collect right now. You can fill your sheet with the whole page of at least 20 different data sets. How many chairs? How many people? How would you categorize them? And so you can always build this world of data, and that can be extrapolated to the cities that we live in as well. And so just sharing some of the types of data that we often do with our students, there are of course more than these 4 types of data, but oftentimes based on student interest, it falls in these buckets. Often data is describing people, and so demographics, census data, who actually lives there, and the outcomes tied to those people. For example, you may look at health data. What are the asthma rates? How many hospital visits? What's their behavior? How are we affected? Data may also look at systems and structures. So you may look at infrastructure, roads, industry, schools, bus routes, etc. or you may look at the environments around it, right? What are these different environmental conditions, such as air quality, ecosystems, pollution sources? What are the animal routes that may be explored? So exploring the data that surrounds us. So we just share this again as an example of how we can really crack open the box of when we say data, what exactly is included. And so data exists everywhere. And so we may ask, what technology do we use every day? What type of data, what does that kind of data actually produce? And what story does that data tell? And then we use maps because one, I think maps are super cool, but then also maps are everywhere. We're familiar with that. Being here at ESIP, but from opening up Google search to looking for the AirPods that I couldn't find when I got here this morning, to figuring out what's the weather. If I checked preemptively, I would have brought more shorts to Austin. But we all use these maps and data sets in order to inform our life. As we teach maps, we also think about how we apply a critical lens to maps. We know that maps inherently have incredible power, but we work with the students to understand that it's not reality. It's not necessarily just because you see it on a map means it's coming from an authoritative source. Any map you see is a decision, and maps can change. And so, this used to be. I'm from Dallas. I know this as the Gulf of Mexico. It was renamed to the Gulf of America. So now people who experience this, are being told was a decision, right? They're being told their own version of the truth. And so, but this also changes based on where you are. If I leave the United States, even though I'm using the same phone and the same application, the answer to what is this body of water actually changes based on where I am. And so we share this because we know that as we look at maps, it's not just taking it as, yeah, here's the map, that's the answer, I can trust it. But where is the data coming from? Who made it? Whose voices were present in the naming of the map? What choices were being made and what isn't being shown are often questions we bring in to our map and data literacy. And so want to have a chance to turn to your neighbor. I promise we'll get into the curriculum making soon. But maybe just as an additional brainstorm, I know we've been looking at a lot of different data sets. Where does data show up in the curriculum that you use? Or if you're not a teacher, what types of data do you use for work? And so, yeah, groups of like 2 to 3. Again, if you're on Zoom, hello again. Feel free to drop any answers to that in the chat. Would love to hear from you, and we'll give you a chance to unmute if you'd like to share it as well. But we'll just have a couple minutes just to show how we're currently using data in our classroom and workplace. And if we're not using data, what kind of data do we want to bring into our
make
class?
our own data. We collect our own data. Just like the water curve, eating of water. So we go from ice to boiling, and we chart that.
Is it valuable?
And just occurrences, like
Or is it
if we're doing certain experiments, what do you see and all that stuff as it's being heated or as it's being cooled, as they're being combined, just stuff like that. Observation.
That's really cool. And you teach middle school?
High school.
Trying to think. So when I was a teacher, math, I'm trying to think kinds of engineering. Have we ever used date
In a math class?
Yeah.
Well, when I taught AP environmental, it was like anything like looking to see underneath desks to see what gums were there. When they do gum, they stick it underneath the desk. And you try and come up with any observational conclusions. Then we compared cars in the student parking lot versus cars in the teacher parking lot. See which one is more expensive.
Where I was the student.
Yeah, they're more they're not making any money. How come theirs is more expensive? Stuff like that.
That's fun. It's a fun data set to collect.
I always start off with get M&Ms and we count colors. to see how many colors are in a typical of eminence.
I just sent, leadership team meeting.
And there's, I can put it everywhere. Yeah, some kind of data about whatever, and as I've said a few times, most of my work is around climate and energy education, and there are just so many different examples of data.
All right. I know there's been a lot of share outs, but there's one person who really wants to want to share some of their conversation.
Once we're no longer just
Maybe one of the groups that's still
Oh,
conversating.
Linda.
All right, can we get one group to share back out? I will, they're too small of a group to be the hear my voice, not what. But if you hear my voice, clap what? If you can hear my voice, clap twice. If you can hear my voice, give your conversation partner a high five.
Well, we're not.
All right. Can I get one example of some of the great conversations that we were just having around data we use, data we want?
I teach science social studies, so I use maps all the time. For science, because I teach sedimentary rock formation and different landforms, so I have to use maps to show them in context of where do we find. So let's say we talk about deltas, and then of course the natural thing is like, well, what is the biggest delta in the world? And I'm like, let's go see the Ganges River one. And they're like, what? So it's like, where's another one? I'm like, well, there's in Egypt, so let's go to Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
So we see we put Google Maps, the satellite one, we go view it, then we talk about the measurements, how come the Nile one looks upside down, versus like everything's supposed to be pointing down, and why is that pointing up? We talk about elevations. So there's a lot of really good conversations that take place with that. For social studies, we talk about like different battles, because I teach American history, like the first intro to American history, which is super fun. Because it's kind of like the graphic novel version of American history that I have to teach. It's because it's snippets, but I'm originally from Poland, so I tie in Polish history in, because we are very tied with US. So they're like, so what? If Washington was talking to these Polish guys in France, wait, what else is happening? And I was like, let's pull up a map and let's put like world history map. And then there's like a timeline on it. And there's a lot of stuff. And then I have a lot of GT kids that are so nerdy.
No, I love it. I think
it's a rabbit hole. We call them, I'm like, this is a rabbit hole moment. I'll put this rabbit hole. And it's on my Google Classroom called Rabbit Holes.
Yeah.
And then it's with a date, and this is the rabbit hole, this is the topic, and here are some resources to keep exploring on your own.
That's actually not planned. So that's my next point, is that as I share all of these maps, there is a big warning that be careful as you show these digital maps to your students, because it is a rabbit hole. We find that's why we use it, because it's innately very explorative. Students are excited to use this as an opportunity to look at their community, look at a different community, compare what do they think, what do they see, what do they wonder, and it's a great engagement tool. And so if you're looking for something just to break up the everydayness of your class, that's the goal of us bringing these maps. I realized I didn't talk much about the data hub that we explored, and so again, we're very early, but we've been aggregating more and more data sets. So teachers like you all don't have to, store on your own, Google list, or make sure that you attend ESIP in order to learn about all the data sources. We're starting to aggregate them, categorize them, add one-pager guides, so teachers of all types can access these tools and know about the wonderful world of maps that they can explore. Any questions? I know I've just been yapping, but any questions or comments before we keep going? Great. And so wanted to share again, like how this is related to what you already have to do as a classroom teacher. And so obviously y'all have standards. As a teacher, there are many, many things that you are tasked to do. And sometimes when people show you a new fancy tool, it can feel like, another thing that I fit into this day and the year that, doesn't have any room for those in different subjects. There's a lot of different map aligned inquiry-driven standards that you already have to achieve. If you're in social distance from text, we're here in Texas, from utilizing statistical data, identifying and analyzing data, including weather and maps, analyzing and interpreting data for maps, fossil records, and continental shapes, to going to future years. Looking at what happens in the social studies realm, right? Analyzing and evaluating the validity of different sources, right? How do you question where data comes from? This is incredibly important today when there's so much generative AI content out there and students are barely able to tell what's real and fake. And so how do you, back in my day, it was like, don't trust Wikipedia. And that was the extent of, is this a good source? And now there is even more critical media literacy about how do you trust this report, this picture, this map, this information, and how do I verify its source so I know if I should reshare it, if I should tell a friend, if I should make a decision based on this information. So there's necessity to understand how do you create and interpret maps, utilize different GIS technologies, and dive into all sorts of fun graphs and charts. It's not just social studies. There's also, NGSS standards, analyzing, interpreting data, using geoscience data, understanding climate models, and understanding local weather. But I want to share this, it's really interdisciplinary. We believe maps belong in every classroom, no matter your subject. If you're in a math class, you can use some quantitative maps in order to calculate risk probability. We were chatting about insurance back there earlier. What happens when you overlap flood risk to class to various weather indicators? And that might just be a map of showing other people are using that same map to raise their own insurance score, to decide where they want to insure or not. We do a lot of work in Florida at Trouble & Co. And so that's a state that's experiencing increased climate concerns with flooding and hurricanes. It's an area where insurance is either disappearing or going up. And so how do some of the maps and data that they're using, how can we use it in our own math class? From science, maybe you're exploring where environmental health is the lowest. So how do you take a phenomenon that you're reading in a book and show how does it actually show itself up in your own backyard? And in English class, this has actually been fun as we've been working with some teachers around how do you take, we just read this book. How do you actually bring that into your classroom via this activity to where are there some of the themes that you explore in the book that you want to dive into? Are there, did the book focus on Chicago? Let's look at a map of Chicago. Let's look at those demographics and dive into that work. So of course, social studies based on all this we showed before. We use GIS. I think a lot of us in this room know what GIS is, the Central Geographic Information System. Basically, if you take data and tie it to a place, and suddenly you get a map that you can question, a map that you can explore. But we don't think that every teacher needs to know GIS. If you do want to learn GIS, talk to us. We do PD. We'd love for you to map make, but we know there's already a lot on teachers' plates. And so we provide PD to understand how do you dive into place-based inquiry and use existing maps to add to the lessons that you already have. And so similar to what we just did, where you all combine your maps, we do that in our lessons too. You may take one map, which is tree coverage in Austin, then you tie it to another map, which is about heat index. And what happens when you combine them, you're actually understanding where shade is missing and heat is the worst. And maybe that becomes an intervention tool for the city of Austin during the summer to figure out this is actually where we need to put more resources for cooling sites of where to go because there's a lot of heat and not a lot of shade. And so this is where the vulnerable populations might be the most vulnerable. We use maps because they're cool. That's what this slide says. There's a lot of different questions, and the questions that students can explore are as diverse as the students are. From quantifying, these are just some of the projects that we've worked with students doing GIS and mapping. They quantified transgender voter discrimination in swing states. They mapped the correlation between food access and educational equity and actually saw geographic disparity within reproductive justice. All of our work is student-centered. We just tell students what's on your mind. Let's go map it. And they use this tool in order to understand the things that they're already trying to understand, fix, or explore. We have a bunch of maps on our site. For maps, you can get temperature and weather, and how that may relate to redistricting. to understanding access to green space and how access to a local park might be tied with class, to understanding how mental health access, how mental health resources are accessible to teens, especially when they are facing increased anxiety about a wild variety of issues. This is an example that I wanted to share that's pretty recent. Is anyone here in person or online coming in from the Midwest or the East Coast? Yeah. Was there a moment 2 weeks ago where where the sky was orange and you couldn't breathe? I imagine for a lot of students, they're wondering, why do we need masks? We're over COVID. What? So don't force this on me. Or the sky is normally blue and it's a different color. That's not normal. So we just wanted to share an activity. These are all maps that you can actually explore in Civic Atlas. And so if you'd like to recreate this map, you're welcome to do so. I will say it'll look different because we actually pull live data sets. And so these are screenshots from 2 weeks ago when the sky was orange. But if you like, you can use the QR code or go to the Civic Atlas link up there. But if you use this, you would search the Air Now map. That's a map that is repopulated daily. And so you'll see, there's a lot of nasty red and even nastier, maroon, brown, violet up there. All these areas, 2 weeks ago, couldn't breathe outside, had a lot of health risks. What happens when you add a map on top of that? You can then, add another layer and search wildfires and see how does that correlate to different wildfire examples that are happening. And as I did this, I realized, we need a wildfire map that includes Canada because it was actually the Canadian wildfires that was affecting all of that smoke. And it's like, that's a whole different country. That's several states away. Well, smoke travels and we're all under the same sky.
So is this particular one, that's just the US one? Do you have access to the wildfires data worldwide?
We likely should. We just need to add it to our map.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a good flag. And so again, this is a screenshot from 2 weeks ago. If you were to I pulled it up earlier today. I saw some luckily air quality got better. This was a sea of greens and yellows, but then there was some reds and orange over here because there are some wildfires, for those online, some wildfires up here in the Pacific Northwest that was affecting air quality today. And so this is how you can take, those moments that we all experience and work it into your classroom. You can then, who lives in these places. You can add population, add demographic, add additional risk. This is the rabbit hole that we were chatting about, where, it can easily turn into a 5-hour activity. And so you might need, all right, computers down. I know you all love the maps, but we do have content to teach. And so you can toggle the layers on and off. So again, how do you ground what you are hoping to cover in your class in what is going on naturally? I'm going to skip this one, but I want to just kind of describe, one smoke event. You can bring this across different classrooms. In a science class, you can understand and explore what the smoke means for local wildlife and design a civics action plan around the wards carrying the heaviest year-round air quality burden. If you're in a government class, maybe you're, mapping air quality against different ward boundaries in Milwaukee, and you use that to, identify the mayor's office and health department and common council and name one concrete step to protect an at-risk population. In a math class, maybe you're in the middle of a unit on ratios and rates, and you have students actually calculate which neighborhood in Detroit is breathing the worst air and argue that that should be where the filtration funding lands first for new N95 masks. Or if you're in Boston, maybe your class just read The Grapes of Wrath. And maybe the students can then anchor those smoke event coverage to Steinbeck's passages. And then they tie that into writing a letter to their local city council using real live air quality index data. So we just wanted to show these examples. I actually didn't come up with these, our app did. I simply gave our application, I am a Boston English teacher and we're reading these books. What can I do about wildfire smoke? And it gave me this idea and actually built the activity similar across all of these and identifying how do you tie it to your location and your subject. And so we're going to jump into that now. If you filled it out before, you don't have to fill it out again. If you're just joining us and you want access to Civicscape, go to this link. My colleague Cordell is putting the link in the chat, or scan this QR code. If you filled it out before I started, you should already receive an invite email letting you log in. If you are processing this now, it may just take a couple minutes to fill out the form, but we will get you situated shortly. This is just going to give you access to our system. Once again, I feel like I need to keep saying this. This tool is in beta. We opened this tool last month. We have been building this tool just for 6 months. So we're open to all of the feedback. We know that there are going to be some kinks. We know that we don't have all the maps you may need. And so we are very excited to get all this feedback and have the next 35 minutes be spent on actual lesson planning. And hopefully you can walk away with something you can actually implement once classes start again. And so if you are online, please let us know if you have any issues with access. And I see some great chats happening online too. Is everyone in the room? Did everyone get your access email? Sweet. I know some folks joined us later, and so give it a moment. You can do it on your phone. It works just as well, maybe a little cramped, but you can definitely access the activity generator on mobile view. So we're just going to jump in, and if you have any issues, let us know.
The link to Civic Atlas, it's not there.
Wait, which link? Sorry.
It looks like it's working for me.
Oh, that one. So that's not there. It's our link. Y'all have that documentation. Some of this Airtable is new, and so we're still populating it with it. But if you want it, if you go to your UL or open up any tab, it's just trouble TRUBEL. That's BEL. Sorry,
I just signed up. I mean, I have signed up at the time, but I signed up because you could say I'm doing something new here.
CO.
Yeah.
Slash.
Okay.
Civic. Dash. Atlas.
Thank you.
It's also going to be embedded in the Civicscape app that you have.
Gotcha.
And so you can access it with it.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to just walk through so folks can get started.
Oh, no, thank you.
So this is the signups form that you'll see. Should fill out, and as you are making accounts, we will be approving. You will be able to look at our map gallery in the Civic Atlas within the app. And so you'll see some of those options. But yeah, this is our tool to generate data civics activities. The goal is that we're going to give you custom activities that are tied to your subject, standards, and community. Our intent is that this reduces time that you need to lesson plan and any barriers to figure out what maps can I bring in. How do I find, I can't go to the EPA, download this, clean it up, go to GIS, visualize it, clean the pop-ups. How are we aggregating that in an easy to use process? We want to support place-based learning, and we hope that this fills a critical gap in data literacy. We have already aggregated a bunch of maps that are ready for you that you'll see in the map gallery. You'll see the Civic Atlas. You'll see the Nat Geo Map Maker. You'll see the data commons from Google, as well as our own data hub that we explored earlier today. Any immediate gaps that people are facing right now, just to make sure that you're at least in the system? Yeah.
I signed up and then they gave me an application.
John gave me
I'll progress.
I don't know what those were.
Just refresh it. It should come in. I want to give this example. Actually, I'll go to that example afterwards. So what we're going to do for the next 30 minutes is interact with Geo. This is the curriculum co-pilot that we've been working on. It's a co-designer, not a lesson factory. The goal is to take your needs, your interests, your students' desires, and put that into a template lesson. One thing that I wanted to flag, this tool, we're using AI to build this. The AI is only teacher facing right now. We believe that we want to support teachers to be able to have that time to focus in the classroom, but the AI is not student facing.
So how do you get to that page?
Yes, and so let me.
Oh, it's your slideshow.
Hopefully your page, your homepage for Civicscape looks something like this. As you'll see by all of the bright orange buttons, you'll just go and click create activity. If you're in the activities column as well, you can also go to create activities on the top, but it's available on the homepage. Again, just to walk you through, our Civic Atlas that we explored is embedded into the site, as well as, Nat Geo also has a great atlas with some more global data and more like environmental and earth data sets. We have the Data Hub that we explored before, and the Google Data Commons is a great tool with a lot of just broader public data sets on economics, demographics, health, education, etc.
Is there a way through Civic Atlas? Is there a way to juxtapose two maps at the same time?
Yes.
How do I do that?
And so if you open this up, depending on you may need to scroll a little bit. So you'll add a layer. Maybe you'll add drought intensity. And then maybe you also want to look at population.
But then I go with this one and that'll two different ones.
That's not what I want to do. If you do click out of it, it will reset, which is what I accidentally did. The drought intensity, you can add power plants, air quality. What else do we want to add? Drinking water contamination in California.
Okay, that's good.
And so it adds a bunch of stuff. And so you may think that, hey, this is kind of messy. You can edit. If you go to map layers, you can select which ones are visible. You can also apply a swipe tool to change what is being shown with the swipe. You can also play with the transparency if you want there, but you don't want it to be too loud.
That's fine.
Or you can look at the raw data table itself. And so this is the air quality data that's live. And so they have about 4,500 points of air quality sensors across the US.
It did it twice.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
And so what we're going to do here, we're going to make an activity. And so as you're working with Geo, this is a sample of what the activity looks like. It's going to create an essential question, give you a title, and give you a bunch of info. But to do that, you just go to Create with Geo, and you can give it as much info as you want, but it needs at least 4 different things. One, it needs your location. All these activities are place-based, and so you can do it here in Austin. You can do where you teach, whatever you desire. It needs your grade level or age of the student. So are you working with 6th grade, across high school, sophomores in college, adult learning, higher ed, etc.? You need to know, what's the age of your learners, what class do you teach, and what's the topic? And so are you a biology teacher covering ecosystems? Are you a math teacher covering ratios? Are you an English teacher that just read House on Mango Street and needs some context on the topic? And then finally, lesson or a length. And so if you want a 10-minute lesson, hour-long lesson, 2-hour lesson, are you trying to build, your syllabus for all of September? Whatever you want to do. I want to do the latter. It doesn't work as well currently with several multi-week lessons yet, but we're working on that. But yeah, it just needs those 4 pieces of information. Just to walk you through that now, I'm going to make this a little bigger. You should see something like this.
I've already done all that.
And what it'll do pretty quickly, I'm going to say 6th grade, Austin, Texas, let's say biology, And let's say we are exploring local ecosystems, also biology, science, local ecosystems, and water. You can give it more direction than that. You know, you all know what you already have to teach. But if you're like, I just want to explore, you don't need to give it too much. And so you'll see I have location, grade, subject, and topic. I didn't even do my own instructions. I didn't tell it how long we want to do it for. And so I'm just going to say 90 minutes. What it's doing first, it's going to create the lesson preview. And so it wants to make sure that directionally correct before, we go down a rabbit hole. Is this directionally what you're wanting to explore? Again, the more instructions you give it, the more tailored it is for you. But all I said is biology and water. And so it's thinking about something that could be relevant. And so you'll see on the right side, you might want to, if you want to make it bigger, you can just click view to open it up, or keep it split to see both. But where does Austin's water go? Reading watershed maps to understand local ecosystems. How do the waterways and land features in Austin's watersheds shape where plants, animals, and people thrive? It walks through, the planned classroom activities. We also use the 5Es. We know that some of the NASA folks also shared that they follow the 5Es, engage, explore, explain, elaborate, etc. It'll show these are the maps that we know that we have. It will work into the activity. What's the output of the students? They're going to make an annotated watershed map of Austin with labeled watersheds and waterways. Some assumptions to check. And so make sure, AI isn't perfect. That we assume that the teacher wants students to explore local Austin watersheds, not just the broader Texas system. We are aligning it to, sixth grade life science. The 90-minute session should allow for hands-on map interaction. If you want to go change the direction, you can hit that and give Geo more context. If you're like, oh, actually, I did want something broader. Oh, I misspoke. I'm actually Mississippi. Or you can hit looks good, builds full activity. And so once you do that, the full activity takes about 4 to 5 minutes to create. And so what I want to do as it's building is show you what's happening in the background. And so it's pulling from 3 main sources of information. One, it's going to align specifically to your local standards. And so it's pulling from a tool from the Learning Commons to figure out what does a sixth grade science teacher in Austin, Texas have to cover? What are those NGSS standards? What are those tech standards, and making sure that that's aligned? Then it's going to look through our database of maps. And so it's going to look at that data set that you all explored. It also looks online at some of the other tools that we have mentioned and referenced. And if it can't answer the question that's designed for your class using our maps, it'll then look online for other sources that we have verified. Hey, this is a good source. And then finally, it pulls on your class contributions. So if you have shared that, you have a lot of DT students and they love special projects, if your students need extra time, if you have English language learners, if you have specific competencies at your school, you can upload this and it'll further align to all of that work. I want to also flag that Earth data isn't lost to an Earth science class. That's something that we, especially as we're here, we know that it's very easy for this world to only be within those that are in, the science space. But there is no bounds to what is created. If I know we were doing some demos yesterday and folks got really interesting and I'll say weird in thinking through the bounds of what we would immediately assume, you could do with place-based map inquiry. We're trying to figure out, can Geo make a lesson teaching college students about quantum mechanics in a physics class? It tried its best and it connected, quantum theory to other things that it could explore in place space. Or how far back in history can it make an analogy? Can it help me with my middle school Aztec curriculum to understand ancient civilizations? Or we read this book, and how do we make sure that the lessons in the book can be grounded in what the students are experiencing day to day? I'll pause there. I'll see if there are questions. Has everyone been able to at least submit their inquiry into Geo so it's running on the back end?
It might need a few more minutes.
Yeah, the activity may not have come yet, but have we at least, sent the task out? Yeah, we are trying to figure out what happens when we have 20 people do it at the same time.
I have one question.
Yeah.
If your curriculum,
Yeah.
your
Thank you.
sure you're covering it.
And then you type.
So how does the AI handle that?
So
for example, what if I'm in?
Are you able to
see?
Mhm.
I want to talk about wildfire. Not many wildfires. in DC. What if I want to cover wildfires?
So she got in 2D now.
Fair. So you could explain that to Geo. So both in your teacher profile and your class profile, you have the location of where you are located. And so you could explain saying, hi, I'm a teacher based in Washington, DC, but we would like to explore California. Likely what Geo's done, because I've done that where I told it I was in one location but wanted to explore something else. It did a comparative assignment where we looked at data in the other state, but then brought it back home to compare it against metrics where I was, but it would use the metrics of where you say you live. Any other challenges? Have we been able to at least chat with Geo, submit an activity?
So, I want to take my apple, so. I think that part of that.
If you're, can I type something? Just for today, we have this demo site. Yeah. But at least for now. So I want you to have an
I'm already
activity
back.
there.
I don't even know what you're doing right now. I'm just trying to get everything.
There you go. And so you can use that as a website and just chat with Gio if you want to try making an activity. If you're not logged in. And so from there, if you have a class that you teach, and I know you're an instructional coach, but what did you teach before? You said you were in the classroom, right?
5 years ago.
Yeah. Would you like to explore something that science class that was your favorite to teach? Yeah.
Oh, thank
They
you.
can do anything.
Sounds
You can
good.
do like an after school program.
Soil. Okay. Yeah.
What's this?
Swag, it's a, you can.
Any other barriers for hitting?
Back, you
We're
can
resetting passwords.
Yes.
percent density, percent cover.
Has anyone gotten their activity back?
Yeah.
Okay.
That looks good.
What's your activity?
Nick,
You're
nice.
The title is Where Should We Live? Mapping Housing Costs and Grocery Access.
What's your say?
She is sitting up.
Where should we live? Mapping housing costs and grocery access.
Oh,
Reset a password.
specifically in Buffalo.
I didn't
You didn't do that?
The level of specificity.
Do it at home.
They're not just gonna bring the geo tester site.
Yeah.
Don, you sorry. You had mentioned that you got to an activity. You want to
Yes.
share with us what you have? And I'm just gonna flag. If anyone online is having an issue, please let us know. Here, yeah, flag in the chat when we get to you.
And so it's called Where Should We Live? Mapping Housing Costs and Grocery Access.
Ooh.
It's an hour-long lesson with a nice, rich description that accesses the USDA Food Access Research Atlas, the HUD Fair Market Rents data, the 2023 National Risk Index Map, and the Census Reporter. And it's got 4 objectives listed that I could read, and identifies some social studies standards, and it has enrichment activities at the end. It's pretty cool.
Sweet. Got a thumbs up from Don.
Yeah.
How about other folks? Have we been able to at least submit our prompt? So raise your hand if you want help or if you're hitting any other barriers. We have a site that you can use in case logging in as a challenge.
Do I need to change?
I
Let me see.
It's a random geo. Oh, she hasn't worked in that yet. Now you're in. And so to create an activity with Geo, here. Check.
All right, see if you folks have been able to make an activity. And so maybe turn to your partner. You can. Or find a new partner if you're over the last partner. And I'm just curious, so yeah, share with the partner on what felt intuitive about this process. And did anything trip you up? And then what is one thing that you wish this tool did that you're not seeing in the output as of yet? And if you're still waiting for yours to populate, make sure that you've done the submitting for the full activity. But then maybe your partner has an activity that y'all can dive into together and always share.
I went back and forth with Gio.
Mine says, my invitation has been revoked.
Here, I can send you another invitation.
Okay.
What's your name?
Larry Lawler or Lawrence Lawler.
These folks.
Okay.
I always a tool that's being used.
Just resets.
Just one meeting.
Check your email.
But you just sign a letter. Yes. Because we're trying to think of one from the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, go down. You should have done.
There's no.
This is the old one.
Yeah, go down.
Okay.
And click those three dots. Right below.
Right here?
Mhm.
I hope
That's just a new thing.
And just click this.
Go down. And then, wait, go out. Sorry. Access this email.
Think so.
Go to the email that's in your hand.
Save it as a draft.
That this one right here.
This one?
Yeah. Go down.
I'll do it
all the way down. And then click
Just
these
okay.
three dots.
Well, it didn't have to give me any help.
And then from there, go down.
Did it
Click set up my account.
It's not.
It's just the students need global maps.
Not with the go to resume.
I'm just gonna choose your own password.
Impressive, isn't it?
And then from there, go to the right. Scroll down. And usually it looks good. Go to activity.
Save it.
Yeah.
So so this is the activity preview section.
Oh, I guess.
And so those are the maps
Even
that I probably
then share it.
yes. And then if this all looks good, and then you go to looks good, and it's gonna build you the full activity.
I don't know.
So maybe it timed up Jasmine. As well as.
I can do that myself. I already do to do that. Thanks.
That is all of this and we got a great. Google does this already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a little while, and I think we're now exploring what happens when you got 20 people all doing it.
What should the investigation do? Or students investigator do? Where you choose a place to live based on mobility and master housing? Well, I mean, it's save and share.
Except
Yeah, but it was, public
Sort of
linking.
like a.
Here you go.
Okay.
Oh,
I guess. Well, this is,
I asked for it to make conflict.
If you've already made an activity, feel free to make another one. Compare the experience, try a different map, different area, different domain.
Have you thought of?
No. Broke it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're actually, once a computer.
We hear a lot from our especially on civilization. You challenge Silk Road. We need Silk Road.
I think, well, not where I was going. I was thinking of like showing.
I haven't sent it yet because I have too many pages open and I didn't know where my email is.
That's like me. It's just fine. Take me 3 minutes to find the email.
So depending on how much time you have.
But like, when they get actually
But if it didn't,
And finding one with that.
You're in the state.
I guess we.
like in Africa.
How many people were there? You know, those people.
Yeah.
Yes, I say, I'm like,
Somewhere I stopped
yeah, the first people were not Native American, were not necessarily Native Americans, or they were, once we moved to the Native Americans, there was also the first, there were not Europeans that came, it was the Chinese. And they're like, wait, what? So what was it in China? There's like a term that looks like you have whole treasure of history this way, but I'm like, we always turn into a story. And Africa this way, it's not, but I'm like, let's go this way.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we're so
troubleshoot.
and some little thing where do I find
to
it
make it
and I'm like,
so that I can.
Yeah.
I'll go find that.
We're hoping to build that out in a few ways. One in our like population map, so that's all available in the census. So not just the current
Like,
population.
if you was screenshot that, like, I would love to see
And send that
that
to me, I would love it.
before and after, kind of, there are maps already generated on that, obviously. But kind of have it in one place.
Yeah. We are open to all the feedback. That hearing this, I'm not a classroom teacher, so we put a bunch of maps that we thought were cool.
Whenever we do the trip here,
Pretty good.
like, let's see what was before and after, what are they today, what is that, or what is the poverty, and the demographics compare when you come to stations, and it's like they.
I'm sure.
So
I'd love to connect you with one of our team members specifically to like find all of them.
Okay.
So if you're open to
I'm
that.
totally.
Yes.
It's fun.
And you actually there you go. Is that fuller? Closer to the better than the fuller.
Yeah.
And so it looks like folks have started to make an activity continue making things. I want to have some time just to like open it up and hear how the experience has been. Maybe folks can just share like one thing that they were able to build or explore with Geo, and maybe one thing that you'd like to see change or that it wasn't up to snuff.
Don saved his and then was able to publish it and send me the thing.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Love that. Yeah. So we wanted to make sure that, you know, for that reason, we got made. Go explore it.
Yeah.
And you can do differentiation from gifted and ELL students.
Yeah, so if you provide that context to Geo, it's trained to give you differentiated instruction if that's what you need, or if you have ELL students that need a different flow or different guidance. One thing that we've heard is like language translation. It definitely seems possible. You know, AI can do that. We just need to be able to build that in, especially because we know that sometimes you might be serving students that speak 4 different languages in the same classroom. So how do you have that flexibility to design those materials? What else? I'm curious, folks.
Get there and do it somewhere else where you can upload, like, you can make those tailored prompts that may be informed by.
Say that again, sorry?
You can tailor your prompts.
Yeah.
For that, and if you want it to align with specific resources you have, then it needs to be in a tool that you can upload documents to. So you can take something you've already generated and now take that and then.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that's next up on our product development. Like how this is great when you are brainstorming, starting from scratch. A lot of teachers have a curriculum that they need to follow as close as possible, but they might have, you know, a little window of opportunity for a 20-minute icebreaker, a 30-minute expansion. And so how well can Geo, you know, take an existing curriculum and localize it? How well can it take an existing curriculum and add a small adaptation? And so we're building in that capacity as well. That's really great feedback and what we've been hearing from our teachers. Cool. Any other reflections or insights? Anyone online? I'm keeping an eye out for any thoughts. Well, you are all welcome to continue using the tool. If you had an issue and you weren't able to log in, please do talk to us right after. We can get your account refreshed just to make sure that you can continue making play-based activities as you keep going. But thanks for sharing. You know, we know Geo's getting some things right and a lot of things wrong, but we hope to continue building and iterating as we pilot this work. What's this? Oh, yeah, we're going to do. I'm just curious. Maybe in the next couple of minutes, would love another round robin of sorts. We know that there are a lot of data sets that don't exist currently in Civic Atlas. I'm curious if folks can share like what is your like data wish list? I know we were just hearing sorry, I forgot your name in the blue card again.
Oh, Yola.
Yola.
Yeah.
I'm just hearing from Yola about like her data wish list, if you don't mind me sharing, around getting more historical maps. And so being able to compare populations, being able to see, Native
Migration
American
patterns.
reservations, but to see what's happening over time. It's not just what happened today, which Geo is great for, but what happened 50 years ago, 100 years ago, and being able to see that in map form. Any other things on people's map wish list? Or maybe things that you are about to teach and you're like, I'm not sure if you have a map like this, or Geo wasn't able to really localize this super well.
Okay, shamelessly plug the new No Wild Fire portal.
Would love that. No, yeah, tell us some more about it.
It is ArcGIS based, and it uses several different satellite sources to build maps of wildland fire heat maps, smoke maps, wind maps. I didn't build it. I don't know everything it does, but something that you could plug into. And I think one of our goals is to sort of come up with a uniform map explorer.
Okay, yeah, so it's all in one. I was about to say we have a lot of NOAA maps, so we don't have all the NOAA maps.
Yeah, so if we're trying to get to something where we can have all of our data sets can use similar data viewers, so that a tool like yours
interpret and see it all in one place. I love that. Did you get that card up? What is it called again?
The Wildland Fire Portal.
Gotcha.
So Nick, this is kind of a technical question, but this environment, you are pulling in data from NOAA or your specific data sets, or like, I thought I saw the Living Atlas. You sucked the whole Living Atlas in, or what is the?
Yeah. So in the back end, we have our data repository, which y'all explored when you went to data.trouble.co. And
Right.
so we are for example, this beautiful data set that you've given us, our data team is going to go through that, take a lot of screenshots, say, these are all the indicators, this is where it's from, it updates every month, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We codify all of that into the database. Then Geo, whenever it holds a request, it looks through the available tools, the affiliated metadata layers, and tries to figure out which of these can help answer the question that it's devised.
Okay, and then the space where the lesson creation is happening, that's one of the most powerful features. So that is, it's not searching the web, it is contained
It's
within
doing
the
both. And so it prioritizes the maps that we have found, but we're early and we can't find all the maps. And so it then looks externally to see what other maps might be relevant and other resources. What we do as a team is bi-weekly, and Cordell's been doing this too. All of the maps that you all made, Cordell and the rest of our team is going to look through and figure out what other data sets is Geo finding. And let's see, is it verifiable? We create one thing that we didn't share. We have quick guides for every tool we process where it tells you, click here, that has these indicators. Open this screen to give teachers some guidance, especially those that aren't familiar with maps. And so it's iterative. And so all the maps that Geo may have found on the internet today, we will look through and then re-add it to our system.
Very cool.
Thank you. Well, I know we empower youth. Yay! We teach data. Yay! Why does it matter? It makes it locally relevant, curiosity driven, and action oriented. We turn data to stories and stories into action. Data that doesn't belong just to NOAA and NASA, it belongs to all of us. Thanks for your help to bring this to you. And we have a super quick survey. It's not even a survey, it's just a contact form. If you want to get in touch with us, if you have questions, just fill it out. Literally, it's just your name, email, and an open box of any other comments. If you want to leave us your wish list of more data, we'll make sure that gets processed and added to our system. If you're like, I want every teacher in my district to have this, if you're an instructional coach and you think that this could help your teachers make locally relevant curriculum, reach out to us. This will just flag to us saying, hey, we met, let's hang out. And we'll reach out, find some time to chat with you. And it has a few links of our work as well. Thank you so much for your time. It is exactly 5:30. It's been a long day. Thanks for being with us here in person. Thank you to anyone who's still there online. Thank you for being with us, and let's spark good trouble where it's needed most.
Thank you.
Thank you.